I'm Jeanette Bogart. I'm Jeanette Bogart from Jeanette Bogart's Best Spreads. We are not cooking today. At another time I will be in the school cooking. But this is our one-room schoolhouse in Mamaroneck, and it doesn't have a kitchen. But we have you, and we have Gloria Pritz, our historian, our Village of Mamaroneck historian, who's going to tell us all about days gone by, days here in Mamaroneck in this schoolhouse. So I'm going to welcome Gloria, and I'm going to let you take over.
Sure. Good morning, boys and girls. It's a pleasure to have you here on this very miserable, rainy day. For one thing, it's very nice that you came, that you couldn't go outside for recess, so that you came to visit, and that's just wonderful. So now, this particular small building, it's probably as large as your living room, was the schoolhouse here in Mamaroneck. And it was the schoolhouse from 1816 to 1855. You know how long ago that was? Yes, with the blue shirt. I bet you've got it.
About 180 years.
180 years, yes. Yes, could very well be 180 years. It was built in 1816. Okay, and it was a schoolhouse until 1855, which was before the Civil War. Have you studied the Civil War yet?
Not yet.
Yes, not yet? You're aware of it. Well, anyhow, this was the school for Mamaroneck. And all of the students came to this school from first grade to 8th grade. And sure enough, what we did have was desks that were really benches that were similar to these. Here, I'll hold this up. Similar to these desks. These are desks. This is what they would have had, would have been benches. When the students came to school, they had to finish their chores at home first. I'm sure you did too. Yeah. Did you milk the cows? No? Did you feed the pigs?
No.
No? What about the chickens? Did you gather the eggs in the chicken coop?
No.
And bring them in?
No.
And help Mom bake biscuits for breakfast?
No.
No? Oh. It's kind of different, isn't it? Well, anyhow, when you would walk to school, whether it was raining or snowing or sunshine, you would walk to school. Unless, of course, you had your own horse. But if you had your own horse, that meant you were wealthy. And if you were wealthy, then you went to boarding school somewhere. You didn't go to the public school in Mamaroneck. But that's fine. So then you came to school. And let me just talk about school. When you came to school, did you bring a log for the fire? It was your duty today to bring a log.
No.
No, going to be cold. Oh. Did you empty the ashes? No, well, someone has to empty the ashes from the stove. You see the stove over there, we'll look at it later. The ashes have to be emptied out. No?
I didn't do it.
No?
Nobody did.
But anyhow, once you came into school, and you brought your log, and you emptied the ashes, okay? The first thing you did was say the Pledge of Allegiance. We all know that. How would you like to say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then what would you do would be to sing a song. Something like, my country, 'tis of thee,
Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrims pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Now, and then you would say a prayer. A prayer would be said, but of course today we don't say a prayer. But that's okay. But we wouldn't sing the Star Spangled Banner because that really was not our country song yet. But the flag, this is a Star Spangled flag with the 15 stars, 16 stars. But it is a Star Spangled Flag, which is the time when this school was built. And so then what you would do, some of you would be first graders and some second and third and all the way up to eighth graders, and you would kind of sit together and you would have different lessons, but with only one teacher taking care of all of you. And of course, did you have pencils and paper? No, you didn't. What you had was a slate. And probably the slate was maybe a little bitty block of slate or something or other that you picked up in your yard, in your farm, you know, and chalk. And this was what you used to do your lessons, to write on, to everything else. And of course, there was no such a thing as an eraser. So what you did have was some old rag, perhaps from an old nightie or something or other, or pajamas, that you used to clean your slate. And so that meant that the teacher had to see to it that every single child, every single student was involved with doing a lesson. So do we have any questions about the education of it?
Did they have like tests on the slate or in a paper?
Oh, they had tests. Yes, they did. I'm sure they did. But they were not state tests. The state, in fact, the state had very few rules. Yes, dear, what is your question?
What type of stuff did they learn in school?
Well, they of course learned to read. And here's a McGuffey's reader from the 4th grade. And you may want to look at it to see if it is something that you can read today. I have a feeling it's a little bit harder. Okay? They also have a spelling book. But the spelling book is it's for all different, no age group. It starts with easy words, you know, and then it goes on to be difficult. So I have a feeling that while you were at this school, you used the one spelling book. Yes, dear?
How did you separate each grade level?
How did the teacher do that? I don't know that she did with particular grades. I think what she did was separate the students into their capability. You know, she may get a student who's 13 years old, who had never been to school and doesn't know how to read or write. So therefore, she would have to start with that particular student with really primary things. So the teacher had to be very adept at doing all of this. Yes, dear?
How many children will be in each schoolhouse?
It's all according to the people in the community. It's like today, you know, you don't know if your school is going to have 6 second grades, because that's how many students are in second grade here in Bellows, or maybe there's going to be less students so that you need only 3 grades. Well, the same thing applies to the students who came here. It was all according to their ages, and also all according to if their parents sent them to school. They did not have to go to school. You have to go. The state law says you must go to school. The community must educate you. Okay? Yes, dear?
For like maths, do they still call it do they call it subtraction and addition the same way, or did they call it something different?
Math was called arithmetic. Okay? So that it didn't go into mathematics. That was a strange word. Perhaps they used that in college, you know, in Harvard or someplace, or Princeton, but not in the elementary schools. It was arithmetic. And of course, what they were truly interested in educating you to do is to read, so that you could read the Bible, so that you could read your prayers, okay? Thanks to Mr. John Quadrini and Mr. Bill Fraser, this old building was moved here to Harbor Island, here on the park, and restored authentically with such precision that whatever they did to restore it would have been done exactly the same way as it was done when it was built in 1816. This building in 1855 was too small for all the students that it was to take care of, which was about 100. But of course they all didn't come at the same time, you see. They came when they did not have extra chores at the at their farm, at their home to do, and the parents had the money to pay for them to come to school, because the parents were taxed a certain amount for every day that the child came to school.
Okay. About how long was the students here?
In the day, during the
Oh,
day.
during the day,
Yeah, it
the
was-
normal school day, about your day, yes. They started about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and they brought their lunch in a bucket and ate here, and then they left for home about 3 o'clock. It was pretty much about the same school day, okay? Yes, dear?
Where did this schoolhouse used to be before it was moved here?
The schoolhouse, when it was built, was at the corner of Mount Pleasant Avenue and Mamaroneck Avenue by the railroad bridge, where there's Liberty Travel, that steel Liberty Travel building. That's where this building originally was, facing the harbor. There was no Mamaroneck Avenue, so it was right there on Mount Pleasant. Yes, it is, way back there.
Here?
Yes.
After the school closed in 1855, did it was there another school that opened?
Yes. In 1855, when it was too small, the town of Mamaroneck, who owned the school, sold the school building to a husband and wife who lived in Mamaroneck. And sure enough, it then became the home for Mr. and Mrs. Seaman. And in 1993, The great-great-grandchildren of Mr. and Mrs. Seaman still lived there in the house. It was owned by the same people. And they were elderly, and they were in the nursing home, and they gave the building to the Village of Mamaroneck and the Mamaroneck Historical Society. The movers, the house movers, decided they would take the roof down, and they took out the center beam of the roof, and the roof came down, folded down into the ceiling here. Can you imagine? It was absolutely fabulous. And they moved it over the railroad tracks going down Rockland Avenue, and here it is, a picture of the house being moved. This is a little cubby hole that they have left so that you can see how the house was before they restored it. It was just old. It was how many layers of paint or paper that were on it for so many, many, many years, that it's absolutely incredible that we have this wonderful place. Well, it is not finished as yet. We still have to have the desks put in, you know, the benches put in, and other work has to be painted. It's just wonderful that we do have this marvelous place.
Did only the children clean up the schoolhouse, or did the teacher help with it?
I'm sure the teacher helped too. Yes, yes.
What would happen if a student didn't finish their homework or didn't do anything? Any other homework done?
There was discipline. The teacher had discipline, but it was all according to what the teacher, what the teacher used as discipline. Sure, yes.
Was that like the attic up there for where the janitors or something?
Yes, that's to get up there to the attic. Yes. You see that rope hanging down? Well, before you leave, all of you will get a chance to pull that rope. You know what's up there? What? Yeah, with the Navy shirt.
The bell?
The bell, the school bell. That's what called the students they came to school playing outside, but when it was time to come in, the teacher would ring the bell and in they'd go. Okay? You all get a chance to ring the bell. Yes, dear?
In the free reading time, what would the children read? Would they bring in their own books, or?
They did not own books. Books were not easy to obtain the way you have them today. What they did read was the Guffey readers. There were very few books available unless they came from England. Let me just tell you that after this schoolhouse was moved away in 1855, they built another school in the same place there on Mount Pleasant, where the Mamaroneck Avenue comes together, and that was the Depot School. And this particular picture here, okay, is of the Depot School that's facing the harbor, and the students outside. That particular picture was used on a state pamphlet, a large pamphlet, on how to find the history of your school. Yes. Mrs. Bogart?
Yes, I'm
would you
coming
like
up.
to,
Yes, I would. What else do we learn in school today that's different, that they didn't have then? I will go around this way. Yes, dear.
Science?
Okay. Think of something? I'll go to you. Go ahead.
Social studies?
Social studies.
Social studies was geography.
Oh.
There was no such a thing as social studies, okay? That is a new name that came in the 1900s.
Okay.
It was geography.
What else, young man?
Probably biography?
I didn't hear you.
Biography?
Biography or biology? Which did you say?
Biography.
Biographies of people. Reading. All right, dear.
Biology?
Biology. I don't think they had biology.
No, that's
then.
science. That's science.
A language?
Languages. Very good. What language are you studying?
Spanish.
At the fourth grade level?
At second and third.
Second and third. Beautiful. And that you?
Jim.
Jim. Yes, that was recess.
Recess.
What did they
And then you would go outside and play games, and you would have different toys, perhaps you'd bring, but there were no balls. There was no such a thing as a baseball. There was no baseball.
No baseball.
A soccer ball. There was no soccer. Ordinarily, a ball would be a beanbag that you would toss back and forth.
What else?
Art.
Art. Did they have art?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure that they did do creative drawings, yes. Mhm.
Another question?
Music.
Music.
Well, they
I don't
sang.
know.
They sang
Yes.
songs.
Ed, dear.
Would they go on field trips?
Would they go on field
Field
trips? I don't
I doubt it.
doubt it.
They never traveled very far from home at that point. For one thing, they only traveled
On
by
horses.
horse and wagon, you know, oxen and wagon. And you don't travel too far that way. If you were going to New York City, from here in Mamaroneck, you would go by boat, because that would be easier.
Yes?
Do they have specials, like different specials?
I can't hear you. Do they have
Did they
specials
have
like?
different specials, like art, like things like
Well, they
that?
had drawing.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Yes, dear?
Would they do like art, music the same days, but would they do all the specials the same day? Sort of art, music,
We
jam?
don't know.
We don't know. Ed, dear.
Would they like learn times tables?
Times tables.
Oh, yes,
Was that?
of course.
I think so.
That was arithmetic,
Think so.
definitely, definitely.
I don't know if they studied fractions at that. in
Oh,
those
I'm
days.
sure they did.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Did they study history?
Yes, they would have. But of course, what history would they study? If it were American history, what would they have had to study in 1830?
The Revolutionary War?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's right. They would have. War of 1812?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, dear.
Were they allowed to write in manuscripts, or did they have to use cursive?
Yes, they could
Yes.
write in script. Yes. Yes, they were, yes, they've been very involved and very fancy. You see how this is the script. It was very fancy that they did.
Yes.
What?
dear.
Would they get any holidays, and what were they, if they did?
Any holidays?
I'm certain the holidays that they had would have been religious holidays because at that point in schooling, religion was very important. That, for one thing, you learned to read so that you would read your Bible. That was very important. You started class in the morning with a prayer, okay? And your writings would have to do with very much religion, so that that would be the only time you would have a holiday, would be for religious holidays.
Yes, young man.
Would you have like snow days?
Snow days. I don't know about that. What do you think?
I spoke to a woman who since has died. This is, maybe like about 5 years I spoke to her. She was elderly, but she lived right here down on the Post Road. And she went to Central School, which is just down the Post Road. And she said, well, we walked back and forth at lunchtime and everything. And if it rained, we walked. And she said, and when there was snow on the ground, they walked in the trolley tracks. The trolley tracks along the Post Road. Because when the trolley came, the snow was pushed away, and so they could walk in the trolley tracks. And I said, well, what happened when a trolley came? Oh, we just stepped out, into the snowbank, and when it passed, we went back to the trolley tracks. There were no snow days.
Young man.
What would their schedule be like
For the day in school?
Yeah.
Would it be, everybody would be different being in
Oh,
different
yes,
grades?
everyone would be different, but every day you would cover all of your
Your
subjects.
subjects. I'm going to thank Gloria with all this beautiful information that everybody here has enjoyed listening to. I'm also going to thank John Spadino from Bellows School here in Mamaroneck, and the principal, Margie Lindero, who was kind enough to come along and just be with us today. The children, as we mentioned before, are all going to ring the school bell, and there's a gift for everybody. In here is a package I happened to be in Leesburg, Virginia last week, it just so happens, and here is buildings as they stand today from the same period as this schoolhouse is. I also have for you all about the Civil War, a little pamphlet. It has pictures in color. You may enjoy looking at it because this was the time that was leading up to the Civil War. Also in Virginia, in June, is a special event. Storytellers are coming under tents. You may like to bring this home to your families. It's a family event, and it's a lot of fun in that part of the world. We have also here from our schoolhouse a lovely pamphlet prepared for us. It says here the 1816 Schoolhouse, Mamaroneck, New York, and it is from, of course, the Mamaroneck Historical Society. So thank you all. I hope you had a nice time. We're going to go one by one and ring the bell. We'll start down there.
Okay,
All right, and
oh, we did. What did we say, boys and girls?
Thank you.
We want to cook next time, though, Mrs. Bogart.
you will.
We do.
Promise.
All right, we hear food.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yay!